Hello everyone, my name is Karol Hernandez. I am a student at Business 200 honor section. I'm a business major and this is my last semester at BMCC. Today I want to talk to you about reframing our organizations, Peter Drucker, the father of management, what is management in general, and the difference between management and administration, and Henry Mintzberg. Let's start with what is management. Management is defined as the act of managing people and their work to achieve a common goal. Now, how do you do that? You might be asking. Well, you do that using the organization's resources. We all know that management is a process, right? A discipline, a function, where by using the skills and talent of other people around you that has a common goal, you are able to manage them and run a whole system to get a benefit for your organization. Management is mostly in charge of planning, organizing, motivating, and most importantly, leading and coordinating the decision-making process of an organization. Management basically brings together the 5 M's of an organization, which is man, material, machines, methods, and lastly but not least, money. Now, how is management different from administration? I already defined management, and what I'm going to do is define administration and select the key points of the key terms that make management and administration different. Administration is a process in which the management of an organization, an institution, an office is administered. So an administration basically is the act of creating policies and legislations or plans and setting up goals and procedures to enforce rules to make an organization be managed in the right way. Administration basically is the top layer of the hierarchy of organizations. The key points or the key terms that differentiate management and administrations are that, first of all, management is a systematic way to manage things and people within an organization, while administration is administering a whole organization through management. So management is in charge of implementing policies within an organization and the people working in that organization or involved in that organization, while administration is in charge of creating those policies for the sake of the organization. Concluding this, we can say that all the important decisions of an organization are taken by the administrations. However, that doesn't mean management doesn't take decisions. Management takes decisions that are within the boundaries set by the administration. I mean already what is management, I can start letting you know about Peter Drucker and why he is called the father of management. Peter Drucker was the biggest philosopher in the management industry, on the management area, and he was called the father of management because he had a lot of influence in the modern thoughts for modern management. And he left a legacy by asking questions in the right way to provide answers. Peter Drucker was an admiration for other people. People trusted his judgment because he had the vision to create a functioning society. His impact was valued among businessmen because he was an observer of his surroundings, and everything he did, all his legacy is involved about people, noticing what people want, how people behaves, and observing everything around him. He didn't particularly care about money or fame, but he was very concerned, like I said before, about people and their interaction and how management affected people, how people behaved when we talk about management, not only of organizations, but other industries and other stuff. So he was concerned in trying to understand other people and their needs, and this led him to succeed as a business researcher, and because he knew how to see what people wanted and what a customer expected, not only for a product but in general what the whole idea of management was supposed to be: observing others, observing customers, and not only customers, but observing people that is within your organizations, the people you are managing. However, he actually believed that management was not only about profit. He believed in mixing the business profit with the purpose of the business, with the purpose of managing. He spent a lot of time working with nonprofit organizations, and these nonprofit organizations, um, he believed that they had something to give to the business, to the management. It was not that nonprofit organizations will learn about management. It was what management can learn about nonprofit organizations, about business having a purpose, about nonprofit giving that purpose to the management. He wanted to engage with people in all the processes of management because he believed that was the core of what really management is about. He believed in gathering talented individuals and make them all gather together to achieve a goal, to have a particular purpose, and to have this passion for business and management that will make them really reach that goal. And that's what he believed was something management can learn from the nonprofit organizations. Peter's passion, as I stated before, was completely led towards society. His vision was to create this functional society, and he dedicated his work and knowledge towards this goal of a future healthy society. For him, this management thing was more of a tool to make his vision come true. And he actually indeed created and maintained this functional society because his vision was to like I said, dedicate his knowledge, dedicate all his experience in making a path for future generations, for future managers to start developing and start creating and take care of this functioning society that he wanted. We're definitely not saying that Peter was not interested or he didn't think about creating employment. He didn't think about making profit, making money, and making society wealthy. But he believed in making a change and focusing on the results and the actions to create a good path for others. He wanted to lead people, right? And he believed in creating certain strategies, making people passionate, building trust, envisioning something better for the future, not only as an individual, but as a manager, motivating others, leading others to envision this good society, this functional society. He wanted to make people want to follow him, not only to follow him, but he wanted to teach others that to make people follow you, you have to make them trust you, and you have to appreciate the talent of these people, and you have to envision them and motivate them, and that's what really made you a leader. I would like to address 5 questions that were important when talking about nonprofit organizations now that we're talking about Peter Drucker. And these questions are: what is our mission? Who is our customer? What does the customer values? What are our results? And what is our plan? He quickly became the father of management because he made us think about how these questions start from being individual to being a whole. These questions start of what is our mission? Who is our customer? Which is something more individual, and then they start developing into what does the customer value, what are our results, and what is our plan as a company. So it makes you think that to grow something, to nurture something, you have to start asking for yourself, and then get feedback, and then share these ambitions, and then share these goals with others, so that you can grow and grow and grow and answer all these questions that you need to succeed while managing. Peter Drucker was in fact the man that connected all the dots and created or invented what is management as a whole, and all the things that are really important in management. He put together all the factors needed for the whole concept of management and what organizations really need to take into account when talking about management and when caring about managing their organizations. Moreover, Peter believed in 4 C's that were what you need, or what an organization needs to be effective, and what leader needs to be effective, what a manager needs to be effective. And these 4 C's are competency, character, compassion, and community. And it basically envelops everything Peter Drucker was thinking and dedicating about, which was building a society which was not only healthy and wealthy and creating employment and creating opportunities for others, but also he's putting in these whole four C's for an effective organization and effective management is his legacy. Is That is literally why he's called the biggest philosopher of management, and that's why he's called the father of modern management, because without his knowledge and without him being able to connect everything that is needed for management, we won't be able to learn about managers right now. We won't be able to learn about how to manage organizations and all the things we're doing wrong and all the things we're doing right, and the right way to develop and create an organization that is steady and that is healthy. Concluding with Peter, now we're gonna head on to Henry Mintzberg. Henry Mintzberg was as well one of the world management thinkers, especially in the last 4 decades. He wrote the book The Nature of Managerial Work. Drucker was also observing everything around him, and he wrote literally what he saw. He didn't take a lot of credit about this. He basically said that what he made different is that he wrote the things he saw and the things he learned about management and strategies and managers in general, how managers behave. For him, strategies started after people became looking for solutions to matters. So strategies basically came from experience. These thoughts are then developed into strategies, basically. So you have a problem, you try to find a solution, and that's where strategies start developing. For him, a real issue was that people was learning as a group, but they were coming back to work individually after they finished learning or after the cycle broke. He thought that it really didn't create a change in the whole organization, because what really makes an organization successful is to drive into those changes and develop changes as a group, as a whole. He also thought that the best way to learn and gain experience was to engage and lead others. He thought that the leaders needed to learn as a team, not as an individual. So he was mostly thinking about reflecting on experiences as a whole, getting feedback from others, and that was the right way to lead, the right way to learn and to be able to make strategies in the future, and then turn those strategies and all those solutions into a successful organization. All this educational management was for him the best way to create experience, like I said. And he believed that combining the management education with management development, we will balance all the complexity of management, and we will balance all the complexity of an organization as a whole, which will eventually lead to the organization to be successful and to be organized and structural. The mindset of Mintzberg was really that experiences and reflecting on experiences was what makes you really make a change, and if you made this change successfully, you will be able to not only get managerial experience, like I said before, but also to be able to manage in a correct way. Last but not least important, I'm gonna talk to you about reframing organizations, specifically about the chapter 1, the power of reframing, and chapter 2. My first thoughts when I started reading Reframing Organization was, are they really going to talk about politics? Because this topic is not too much for me. But after the first page, I understood where this was going to. And I definitely want to address that there's a lot of interesting vocabulary. And I found it really interesting that I started actually using it in my daily life. But coming back to the topic, I feel like an unorthodox form of management is the best way to address how Donald Trump's presidency was. And it actually entangles more qualities than what, people will think. From this example of presidency, we can discuss what reasons lead us to fit the word unorthodox into this specific scenario, right? And as I kept reading, I decided to highlight the unorthodox behaviors that I saw. One of them being the manipulation of people through words, the lack of response towards chaos, and the lack of acknowledgement of mistakes after mistakes. And this is not only happening to this particular person, but it's something that probably happens to all of us, despite us being managers or being regular people in our daily decision making day like time. Moreover, I want to also address as an unorthodox behavior that desperation and the response to this desperation when losing power or when losing this control. I know it is in fact important when you are in charge of managing something, in this specific case, in managing a country, to find resource to control chaos and try in some way to gain back the little power and control you had before. But the lack of acknowledgement indeed lead to different results, and eventually it lead to people thinking and to the failure or of this presidential like season, basically. I think not even the former president, thought he will fail at the time, but he lost focus on what was really important and why people didn't really vote for him again, or why he lost the elections. And he didn't acknowledge all the inconsistencies he did during the presidency. I do also want to address the fact that most authorities fail managing the resources that actually could have saved a lot of lives and make a difference. For example, in the incident of the Capitol. Leaving this example as a base, I want to continue describing and analyzing different parts of the power of reframing that gave me a lot to think about. And I want to start with the passage, "So much talent and experience, yet key decisions makers were at sea." As far as I understood and analyzed this situation, and specifically this passage, I can help but think that the key decisions maker is not really what it seems. I got to the conclusion that people with talent and experience are the same decision makers. And what I mean by that is that there was something that overcame and tainted this talent, that overcame and tainted this experience at the time of taking a decision. Because sometimes it doesn't really matter how much talent or experience one may have. A second of clueless can really cause you to hesitate and take a wrong decision, or take a decision that will make you fail. And of course, ignoring significant signs that can change the whole perspective of the decision you're taking, and the way you're managing the situation. It doesn't matter, your efforts will definitely lead to failure instead of a benefit. This is where we get to the power of reframing, which is literally the name of the chapter. We are introduced to this word that basically entangles an important ability for a leader, which is the ability to observe and analyze situations and scenarios from different perspectives, different angles, in order to achieve a benefit and to create and develop a more successful and steady strategy to overcome an issue or simply a matter. And is seen as a way to basically create a barrier against cluelessness, against failing in a way that is ignorant, that is in some part stupid. We all definitely know how the Industrial Revolution started and all the turmoil it caused to society, especially all the big changes it caused in the business industry and all the industries related. And I do acknowledge that it might have indeed complicated a little bit the social situation, but also I feel that it was more of a window for not only technological evolution, but in my opinion, it created this liberty for people to start exploring their creativity and their imagination and challenging or their abilities and their capabilities. And I feel that it expanded the whole concept of organizations and created a demand for ideas and skills, not only physical skills, but I'm talking about intellectual skills. And I actually, the first thing came to my mind was how familiar it is, the Industrial Revolution with the Charles Darwin theory of natural selection. Why? Because in the natural selection, the stronger is the one that will be standing on the top. The stronger is the one that's gonna keep continuing. Is the species that is not gonna be extinct. This and in this theory of natural selection, if you adapt, you will stay on top. And I feel like the people that stay on top, not only the people, the organizations that stay on top and adapted to what came after the Industrial Revolution, were the ones that intellectually and successfully understood the demands that the global industrialization and the ideology was putting over organizations and leaders. So I do feel they are pretty similar in some weird way, and I wanted to share that idea. Coming back to making ignorant mistakes or stupid mistakes, it's interesting to notice how smart people seem to make mistakes that for others seem like stupid. And it was interesting for me to notice that, in fact, this thing called self-destructive intelligence syndrome is more common than we think. And is basically a stubbornness and pride, discerning you and giving you clues that are not real and that can make your judgment crumble. And your judgment is gonna crumble to the level where you do not know how to solve an issue or take a decision, not because you lack intellectual or because you lack intelligence or experience in certain topic, but because you don't really see the issue from the right perspective. You're just being stubborn and seeing it from the side you want to see it or from the side you've seen it before. These also combine with the fact that there are usually more problems than solutions when you are looking for a way to improve an organization. Makes things way more complicated for managers than we think. We go back to managers handling issues and handling problems and how they will be able to do it. Now, the easiest way probably is to hire a consultant, hire somebody that is a specialist in certain field, in certain area. And the problem starts when managers leave judgment completely to this person, to this specialist, who afterwards does not even care about the outcome of the decision that they took or that they pushed the manager to take. And also government, of course, gets involved with policies and legislation. Sometimes the issues go a little over that, and it cannot be corrected or solved in the right way or with an outcome that is really expected from the managers. So we raise the question on how we can, as managers, how managers can improve the odds of benefiting organizations with that decision making. And this is going to lead us to the next term, which is framing. Now, what is framing? The real challenge faced by managers relies on the real concept of the matter or issue that they need a solution or a strategy for. This is what frames are. Frames are a set or a scheme or hypotheses that help managers make sense of the real world issues and the real concepts when we talk about organizations. Framing creates a mental model of assumptions that help you understand a particular area of the industry and allow you to see a clearer image of what are you facing as a manager. What is your organization facing, and thus what can you do about that matter, and all the possible ways you can navigate to get to a conclusion and to develop the most accurate and beneficial solution for your organization. Framing, of course, allows you to coherently organize and separate perceptions in order to recognize and comprehend what is happening and how to create this pattern that can create a solution, and this pattern in which you can always reflect and come back and turn into experience. We see this strategy of frames in different areas outside in our daily lives, in sports such as basketball, in trivia games, in table games like chess, in competitions where intellectuality and comprehension of the issue are the key to be a winner. And of course, expertise and experience are a good thing, and but I feel like seeing the real issue from the right side is really what at least reframing organizations it's about. Going back to expertise, they are definitely expertise and experience are definitely key terms for dominate judgment and make right decisions, because it combines all the different types of human thinking, like that are necessary for managers and leaders, like intuitive thinking and deliberate thinking. But what is most important about this is to know exactly when to use what kind of thinking, and there is where expertise and experience start playing the game. It doesn't matter if you think intuitively or if you can think deliberately. If you don't know when to do either of so, then you're not gonna think in the right way. You're not seeing it from the right perspective. So this is what reframing is all about. Different circumstances requiring different approaches. And what you really need to get this expertise is time, effort, practice, and feedback from others. That's why it's so important to work as a whole organization and not as individuals. Following the topic of frames and how the right perspective can lead you to get the right solution, we go to asking questions. And then we notice that asking the right question can make you get the right answer, because the question can break the frames for getting the right answer. So if you notice, it's basically all about frames and reframing everything. Understanding the complexity of reframing and the complexity of a situation is what's gonna get us the result we want. Because as I explained before, management is all about achieving a goal independently of what that goal might be, and framing those difficult concepts or factors that make huge difference when you talk about develop and performance of strategies, and when you talk about accurately measuring a right solution or a right strategy to achieve what you're looking for. The goal of framing is to acquire this usable knowledge, these ideas that work for the right situation, in these insights that benefit and recognize organizational complexity. That's where we talk about the four major frames: structural, human resources, political, and symbolic frame. But that's for another video. Going back to what multiple frames or what reframing is about. Multiple perspectives can increase actually your competitive advantage, because putting these frames under different images of reality and organizational complexity make you understand the organizations better and make all the different solutions to fit like a puzzle. That's why limiting your mind and limiting all your thoughts and imagination will lead you to failure, because by doing that you see a narrower perspective of the real organizational life and of the real organizational issue that you are facing at the moment. As I was in my bio lab, I noticed that while we were learning about the microscope, there was not only one lens, but there were four. And in the first one, you might be seeing a little dot, but in the second lens, there is some other things inside that little dot. And then in the third lens, there you're gonna see organisms in that little dot. And it's not a dot anymore, it's a whole ecosystem or something. And actually, I am actually making this a lot about biology, but I feel like there's a lot of similar things and a lot of metaphors that can show us the different perspectives of objects of a study, or in this managerial sense of different perspective of problems and solutions, is what is gonna make our minds and our thoughts useful for the organizational complexity. What makes a leader then succeed in preventing failure? preparation. Unprepared leaders don't have the ability to meet the needs when something happens. It happened some time ago with the COVID-19. It happens when you go to a sports game and they don't have the right formation. They didn't study their opponent. And you notice that experience and the ability to be prepared and create a solid infrastructure in anything you do, and it's going to help you analyze the dynamic and forecast future issues that can happen within your organization and within your daily life. And the problem is we start blaming when we fail. But it's understandable, because blaming is something that we learned since we were kids, and it's easy for us to blame and make excuses when there is a problem, or where there's a disaster occurring, when there is an issue occurring, because it's what gives us comfort. However, looking for the best person to blame is not right, because what you have to be thinking about is why I wasn't prepared for this. How can I prepare myself so in the future I won't be facing these unexpected or crazy changes in my organization, in my life. You are certain that an organization works in a specific way, that it has a strategy, that it has a plan, that it has a structure, that it has a policies, that it has control in the systems, that it has certain operational perspective, then you are not going to be prepared or aware of this unexpected situation or unexpected hits that can easily frustrate your structure and can easily force your organization to adapt and to change or recognize other methods or reorganize your methods, and this makes your organization unstable, and it threatens your operational structure and perspective. This, of course, is unexpected situations are not only from external factors, but also when you are, especially in a big company, there can be unexpected situations happening within the organization. If there is a lot of areas, if there is a lot of people, there's of course higher chances or probability of erratic behaviors, people taking decisions that are not beneficial for the company, and is literally a bomb about to explode. But this is only because organizations are complex, they are surprising, they are deceptive, they are ambiguous. And you only notice that when you notice that anything can affect everything else. That's why having too many expectations is not good for an organizations, because usually what you expect is not really what's gonna happen. It's not really what you're gonna get. And usually mistakes and problems camouflage, especially in organizations, and they start little, and then they explode and devastate everything, and they create a lot of consequences. Adding to it that, of course, different people have different mindsets, and they think of a problem in different ways. That's why I'm saying that unexpected situations can also happen within an organization, because you don't really know if you're going to react in the same way as to an issue that just occurred as somebody else would. And just because people see things and problem in different ways, the uncertainty will increase and it will spread, and it will create different sources of ambiguity within the organization. It's indeed hard for humans to decode complexity, and especially in situations where rationality is the most important thing. It's easy to lose your cool, to lose your rationality, to just go crazy and do the first thing you think is gonna solve everything. And it's easy for us to see an incomplete picture, because we're gonna be led by biases, by preoccupations. We will limit our thinking to the moment, because we have too much to process, because we have to solve this right now, because we don't have time, because we are worrying about other people, because we are worrying about what to do. And sometimes this is a step that managers skip when they face a problem in an organization. They forget to ask themselves what is really happening here before getting a solution, and fast, because like I say, they're omitting this step, and they just make a fast decision without looking at it from different perspectives, going back to the perspectives, going back to the framings, and to reframing. We have preconceived theories in our mind. We have preconceived data, and that deceives us, and that makes us take a wrong step. And our mental modes or experiences blind us from the real situation. Those are all the issues that managers usually face, and especially with unexpected situations. In the next video, I'm gonna keep talking about chapter 3 and 4, and most importantly about the ways we can frame our organization correctly. Use framing, like I said, structural, human resource, politically, and symbolically, so that we don't fall out of this in these preconceived mindsets and these mind models that make us take wrong steps, that make us fail in our organizations.